for that #1 spot. All right. Rappers swearing they on top.
I'm cutting that short. We need to cut the time. We're making 2-hour episodes. We need to find those little opportunities to cut, and everyone knows that song already. So we're back. We're in 2007. 2007. We have 4-time guest now? How many times has John been on?
Well, the first episode he was a co-host, so it doesn't count as a guest appearance.
Right, one-time co-host, and then immediately frequent guest. I think this is as a guest. I want to say this is your 3rd time on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the first there was a Grammy episode. I think
that's true. It's our special bonus episode.
Yeah. So you're like a hybrid at this point of some sort.
Yeah. No, but glad to be back. This is a fun year. Important one for me musically. So
yeah. I think, can we say that, I think you wanted to be on this one, right? You
Yeah. I mean, you've been publishing your playlists on Spotify each year as you guys record these albums, and I was taking a look at your favorites, and a couple of things jumped out, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later.
So the question I ask as we begin these lists, you're not a new guest. We talk about music taste, but in the year 2007, so we are in, I guess, going from freshman to sophomore year of high school, right? We're 15, 16 years old. So what were we listening to? What were you listening to in 2007? Were you listening to these songs, or were you deviating from the songs?
Do I go first?
Someone start. Yes, sure.
Yeah, I think this was definitely my it's kind of fun to think about it. This is definitely like my rock era, mostly.
Right.
I think I was watching listening to a lot of Music Choice, which was that cable suite of networks with like random channels, definitely pre-streaming,
right?
Pre-YouTube. And so I spent most of my time on the couch just watching TV, and they had these channels where they had like Music Choice Rock, Music Choice Alternative. So I remember listening to a lot of that stuff. And some of that actually cropped up on this end of year chart. And then, I mean, a lot of rock. My Chemical Romance had just released The Black Parade, which was kind of monumental for me at the time. And so definitely a lot of that. And
I mean, beyond that, because I mean, we talk about how My Chemical Romance, it was lumped in, and still is lumped in with emo music, and I think to a lot of was lumped in with other big modern bands at the time, like Fall Out,
the pop punk bands,
and pop punk bands, but I feel like you weren't necessarily into
no,
you weren't necessarily focusing just on those other bands that were lumped in, right?
No, I mean, definitely not. I definitely wasn't into the scene,
right?
I did the kind of the band that got me into music was Green Day in 7th grade, and so in some ways I think My Chemical Romance was more of a evolution from Green Day being kind of a little bit more
theatrical,
a little bit more glammy, especially American Idiot being this rock opera. It was kind of an easy move from that to what My Chemical Romance were doing, and so that's where I went. Yeah.
How about you, Will?
Still similar to last year or so, the show, where my answer is listening to a lot of music that I got kind of from you two, both. I feel like I was listening to a fair amount of classic Green Day through Jonathan, less so, but some Chili Peppers through you, David, some My Chemical Romance. I think I was having my second Eve Six phase at this point, so I was very into Eve
7
Six.
phases.
Second of 4, I think.
Fine.
one when I first heard Horoscope in like 5th grade, 6th grade, one around now, one around maybe just 3, and then one like when they like got back together and released the album. I started to drive, so I know anytime I was driving, I had like all the Beatles CDs on rotation, so I was listening to a lot of Beatles around now. But I think I wasn't listening to much in the way of top 40 at this time. I felt there are a lot of songs that I only like vaguely remembered, and like a lot of songs that I like knew but don't really remember hearing at the time, like years later.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think we were all definitely in the, broad rock, genre. I mean, I think as we'll talk about, certainly aware of the big songs on these charts that were mostly not rock. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was definitely like, deviating from the similar way that Jonathan was really into the MCR, me being into Chili Peppers being that first really big band for me, and then kind of moving into like other like 90s, like, yeah, Pearl Jam was huge for me this year, like, and then like, Smashing Pumpkins was another big one, and
Jane's Addiction.
Surprise. Well, when was the concert you two went to with Muse opening? Because I got into Muse quickly, and they were like my number one band for a couple of years.
That was a few years later.
It
must have been this
2007.
tour,
It was
right?
2007. It was
Really?
yeah, it was
Pretty
April of 2007.
I can look this up. Okay.
Yeah.
Muse and MCR.
Yeah, so definitely by the end of the year, I was probably getting pretty into Muse.
Was that really the same year?
Pretty sure.
I think it had to be this album they were touring for.
April, yep, you're right. April 27th, 2007. Wow. Okay.
What venue?
At Merriweather Post Pavilion.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
because Black Parade came out in October of 2006. So it's interesting that the Welcome to Black Parade was on the 2007 chart, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so and this was, yeah, I mean, speaking of concerts, yeah, first really year that I like, went out of my way to go to concerts. Like I remember, I think the beginning of the year was when I saw the Chili Peppers at Verizon Center, which was the first like big, concert that I, like got tickets to and invited friends to, and was excited for. And then, yeah, I mean, later this year, because yeah, that's crazy that Muse is the same year. I never would have thought that, but
Yeah.
Saw like the Who later that year, Verizon Center. I saw Pearl Jam was the next year where we went to that. But yeah, a lot of like 90s alternative, but yeah, I mean, certainly like deviating, I think, from a lot of these songs. Like I still think I was in my phase of like, like trying to like reject like what was on the radio, what was popular. And certainly going back to these songs, I've as we'll get into, I feel somewhat,
Justified.
like somewhat reinforced by some of my original opinions, and others maybe not as much, but we'll
yeah, I feel that too. I also felt, going back to this, like understanding we used to be much more of a monoculture where like there was like fewer options, and like, I mean, in some ways that wasn't true, because like there was a lot of like alternative indie music going on that we just, as high school kids living where we were, not having older siblings, we just didn't have access to. And so like, for example, people like to rag so much on Nickelback, and like going back to listen to some of those Nickelback songs, they're fine. Like they're, and I think they were like, Nickelback had to be like one of the last, like, big rock bands that was popular. So like we had to kind of take them down, rather than just like, in today's landscape, I feel like people just like wouldn't care so much about dragging Nickelback because everyone has access to a lot more types of music.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like at the top 100, where Nickelback is like the only like kind of not the only rock band, but like the only band that like feels like true kind of relic of like early 2000s rock that's still making appearances on the top 100.
Yeah.
Right. Like
there's also Daughtry.
Daughtry, that's true.
Which is really horrible
essentially
stuff.
Nickelback ripoff. Like,
Yeah, really, really bad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like I think there's definitely a the old guard sound of Nickelback and Daughtry, and I mean I'm looking now at the list, and then but then you
And
do
there's like
have,
Chili Peppers trying to like kind of reinvent themselves a bit.
yeah, I mean, uh, but the same type of like big, like well established, super established band, like versus like you're kind of again like all these bands that were lumped into like emo or pop punk bands that still was big at the time,
Yeah.
that probably was like at the peak of like their popularity, like you
Yeah. Like, you have like these bands like Fall Out Boy,
Inter
MCR,
had two hits,
All American Rejects,
right?
obviously the Here There Delilah, all these bands, which would be called gay, right? By like dudes who listen to Nickelback and Hinder and Daughtry and like,
Yeah,
which were just pretty shitty. So,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
still a very like divided, like
yeah,
like you can't like one and then the other too, like
right.
you're stupid about rock culture that
Mhm.
I think as rock has died, so has that, which is I guess good and bad at the same time. But
Yeah.
all right, should we get to it?
Let's do it.
So we begin with a previous song, ended the year 2006. This I think was technically the biggest song in 2007. This was the number one song of the year, even though it started the year, which is kind of interesting. June 6th to February 17th, so another 7 weeks at number one. We have Irreplaceable by Beyonce.
Half the year.
Haven't heard you in a minute. Matter of fact, he'll be here in a minute, baby. You must not know about me. You must not know about me. I can have another you by tomorrow. So don't you ever for a second get to thinking irreplaceable.
Did you say something?
Did you say June 6th to February 16th?
Did I? I meant to say. I said it's January 6th.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It was only 1 week in 2006. I can't remember. Let's see.
It was.
No, it was 3 weeks. So
I mean, yeah, really big hit. I mean,
Yeah, I remember this
10
was
total
huge.
weeks.
Yeah.
9 total weeks, but more in the 2007.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, so this obviously bleeds in from 2006. I will say, if I remember correctly, that I think, and I thought about this, like I think this is, and also with our guests, I don't know if we had all kind of agreed on really enjoying one song more than like this song. Like I don't remember.
Not only did all 5 of us last episode agree that we love this song, but I think all 5 of us kind of didn't connect too much to it when it came out, or maybe we're kind of, because we were like resisting top 40 stuff, or I don't know what it was, but for me, and I think for other guests on last episode, we just didn't love it that much when it came out, and we all agreed it was an incredible song when we were listening for the podcast.
Right. So John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, this is definitely not one of my favorite Beyonce songs, to be honest. It's actually my favorite Beyonce album. And this actually, this song feels like kind of the pop single on that album, which is a lot of like really like almost minimalist funk beats and like real like cool vocals. It's like I feel like it's Beyonce before she became like high concept Beyonce in a way, or like, and like and so I think it's fine. It's written by Neo, I saw, which is cool, who shows up a lot on this chart. But yeah, it's definitely not one of my favorite Beyonce songs.
Do you have any favorites you can name from the album? Because I don't know the album well, except for like this song, I guess, Deja Vu.
Totally.
Okay.
Get Me Bodied, Sugar Mama, Green Light, Kitty Cat, like all these, these like they're kind of deeper cuts. Like the singles are actually not my favorites. Deja Vu is a good song too. But it's a really solid album.
Yeah, I think this the album itself, it's weird. I mean, I think it's one of those that's like, yeah, definitely widely considered to be one of her best, but like at the time maybe wasn't like as, I mean, this being a huge song, Irreplaceable being a huge song, but like, and Deja Vu, you know, it was on the 2006 like charts. I don't think it was number one. It might have been number one, but like very briefly, we might have talked about it. But like, I don't remember it being like a huge hit, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, it was kind of meant to be like, you know, like basically the sequel to Crazy in Love, you know, with Jay-Z. But I feel like the other songs weren't that big. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember it being as big of an album as like Dangerous
Yeah.
Love.
I think
or even-
they had Ring the Alarm, which I think was the lead single, and it didn't do very well.
yeah, it was like, but it was like kind of a weird.
This was the kind of surprise third single that went really big, I think.
Right. So, but I think it's like the album itself is kind of like has like grown in stature as like, oh, this is one of her best, which is like,
Yeah.
which I think, you know, there's like a consensus that like her most recent ones are the best just because they're more like, you know, like you said, there's high concept or they're, you know, kind of like trying to make some sort of point.
Mhm.
But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Also, the song doesn't necessarily fit the vibe of the album, but you know, certainly stands out in other ways.
Yeah.
So we move on to the 1 week, February 24th, 2007. We have the second number one from the album Loose from Nelly Furtado, and it's called Say It Right. I wish I could like fade that out. It's so abrupt. I'm trying to pause it on the beat, but it's hard.
This is why you're using post-production editing for the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
It's
you
the
know,
next step for David, not me.
yeah, I don't know. First immediate thought is that it's just this period for Timbaland is so ridiculous. Like he's just everywhere.
Across genres.
And what was that?
Across genres, just he's got his hand in like every hit of the year.
I mean, and like Nelly Furtado, you know, like it's kind of she's had such an interesting career. Like, you know, she started off as this kind of like, you know, bubbly, like, you know, singer songwriter, you know, I'm like a bird, and then kind of goes away for a little bit and then reemerges as like, you know, trying to be like a, you know, this pop star with Timbaland, and really, you know, probably more successful initially. And then I feel like she's like, you know, I think she still puts out music, but, you know, certainly not the level, like popularity level. But yeah, I like the song a lot. You know, I think this song has actually gotten, maybe one of you can speak to this. I feel like it's gotten like some like a little bit of a renewal on like TikTok.
Yep. Huge.
Is that right?
Huge viral moment last year. There's a pretty big video of this guy who dances in front of video to this, specifically this song.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I missed it.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like in his mirror, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and so people were kind of stitching it with like other stuff in the mirror. So huge viral moment.
So interesting comeback. I mean, but this song is just like, it's such a classic like Timbaland, like, you know, beat, like kind of like bordering on like futuristic pop, but it's very like smooth. And yeah, I mean, I at the time when it came in, I think I remember liking it, but kind of think like maybe it's a little boring, you know, it's not as like, you know, fun as Promiscuous was, but I do like it a lot. But it's also like it, you know, I mean, to be honest, it also seems like a song that like a lot of other pop artists could have done. You know what I mean? Like it to me at least comes down to the production.
Yeah, and I think to that point, like I think like I was noticing a lot listening to this year's music how much Timbaland did. Like this is I feel like this is like probably his peak year, like Justin Timberlake and this stuff. He had his own shock value, his own solo album at this time.
Yeah, solo
Um,
one we'll get to.
and but it does feel like this song and a lot of the other ones do feel like a Timbaland beat featuring whatever artist
Yeah.
wanted to come sing the hook. Like it doesn't really as much feel like it's a collaboration, more of more people singing over his production. And yeah, I think it's solid.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add other than I do think it's a really cool beat. It's like got this. It's like it almost sounds like if it's in this kind of minor key, and it almost sounds like if it wasn't a major key, it could be very kind of almost like anthemic dance music, but the minor key makes it a little more mysterious and a little more just kind of, I don't know if laid back's the right word, but a little less in your face because of it. And I don't know, it works well, but I agree with everything you're saying. It does seem like something set up where almost kind of like plug and play. A lot of vocalists could have done the vocal part for this song.
Does it not also seem like the way it's produced, like the kind of a little bit minor, a little dark, like it almost seems like it would be like an indie song, like something you would hear like I mean, this might be a stretch, but like I could hear like Japanese breakfast singing the song now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, I get that. Definitely like a little
like
mysterious sounding.
it, like and it was number one for only 1 week, but like still, like
Yeah.
it's kind of a
Yeah.
doesn't have that huge hook necessarily.
It
Although,
comes off like another song in the top 100 was Apologize with One Republic. It feels very akin to that song too.
well, that's another Timbaland song.
Exactly. Right. So it's like
Yeah.
this kind of melodic thing with like a hip hop beat underneath.
Yeah, definitely has that feel. March 3rd, number one for only 1 week, is the third single from Future Sex Love Sounds by Justin Timberlake, and it's called What Goes Around Comes Around.
Thought it was me and you, baby. Me and you until the end, but I guess I was wrong. Don't wanna think about it, don't wanna talk about it. I'm just so sick about it. Can't believe it's ending this way. Just so confused about it, feeling the blues about it. I just can't do without you. Tell me, is this fair? Is this the way it's really going down? Is this how we say goodbye? Should've known better when you came around.
Thoughts on worth pointing out, this song is a long song. The album version is 7 minutes and 29 seconds. The radio edit is 5:13, still pretty long. The reason why I bring that up is because his next album, right, which came out like 6 years later, what's it called? 2020
Experience.
Was like almost exclusively like long extended songs.
Yeah.
And I definitely see a connection between this song and those songs, like going for that like extended like vibe, like I don't know, I never like, this song is completely inoffensive to me. It's not nearly as exciting or fun to me as the previous songs we've talked about, like My Love and Sexy Back.
Were those on 2006?
Yeah, those were number ones in 2006 we talked
Yeah.
about. I think I put My Love as like maybe my second or third favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty song. It's really well written. Again, the long extension of it can be a little much, although I will contradict myself later on. But I don't know, like it's fine. It doesn't stand out as much to me. With that being said, we talked about Timbaland. Like it doesn't have that same Timbaland sound. Like it's very like, I don't know, ballady.
Yeah.
All right. I can't get mad at it.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. It's fine. It's not my favorite Justin Timberlake. I don't really get why is this song so long? It doesn't do a lot. Is it like it doesn't do a lot of different things with the extra time? Is it just trying to kind of make like a long kind of chill vibe? I don't know. Like I don't get the point.
I think he was definitely going for, and he did this with the next album too, like especially, but he definitely wanted to make, I think, like an album that was like an album, like where one, stuff flew, like blended together. Like there's a lot of like with this album, a lot of like, interludes, and even for some of the big songs, like My Love, I think My Love has like an interlude, like, or some extended part.
Yeah.
So it might just be that. I don't know, like, again, like, is he, like, is it more respectable to do it that way? I don't know, like.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like rockist, like progressive, like quote unquote progressive rock or something. I think it's like a dance type of DJ set almost. So it's like trying to make these long songs that kind of blend together. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think it's fine. I think I really liked it at the time, actually, thinking back. Because it is pretty like hypnotic and just kind of long, and so you can kind of just like get into it, which I think was new for me at the time, like with related to pop music, like 7-minute songs. But yeah, listening now, it's just like Justin Timberlake doesn't have really like that interesting vocals. It's kind of just a little whiny. So yeah, it's solid. I like it better than the other Justin Timberlake song that's on the year-end list, Summer Love, which is another long song.
Yeah, I don't like that. That was everyone.
I
mean, I thought you were gonna say. I realized this is also very much like, I think,
yeah,
it's supposed to be like a sequel to Cry Me a River, right?
Yeah,
Breakup song, except it's not as good, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally.
Like a second tier. Step it up, Justin. That's what I say. March 10th to March 17th. Double the time that Justin Timberlake had with his song. We have the one, and I believe only #1 song for Mims, and it's called This Is Why I'm Hot.
Say that we lost it, so I'ma bring it back. I love the dirty, cause niggas show me love. The ladies start to bounce as soon as I hit the club. But in the Midwest, they love to take it slow. So when I hit that, I watch them get it on the floor. And if you need it hyphy, I take it to the Bay. Frisco to Sac Town, they do it every day. Compton to Hollywood, soon as I hit LA. I'm in that low, I do it the Cali way. And when I hit the Shy, people say that I'm fly. They love the way I dress, they like my attire, they love how I move crowd.
I just wanted to make sure we hear that last part, because I did not remember that at all.
Those are my main notes. I was just too ignorant at the time, I think, to catch any of the like very in-your-face references to Snoop and Dre and Kanye. But I don't know. I thought they were fun.
Those songs, like,
yeah,
we all knew them. I don't know. This was the genre of music I like despise. I thought it was the dumbest thing. It is dumb, like, it's extremely dumb. But like this, it was like, what is this? This ringtone rap phase that just had all these one-hit wonders like Mims. Although he might have had another like minor hit, but I don't know. I mean, with these songs, like, I can look back on it and be like, this is completely inoffensive, like it's stupid and fun, but it's not a good song. It's super dumb, and I think the whole like sampling that stuff is kind of corny to me. It's like sampling those much more famous, successful, better songs.
Yeah, I think at the time I also to kind of despise this stuff too. I think part of it is like, like I think we were all trying to like kind of come into our own music tastes or like music identity, and like, being a quote unquote rock person at the time, it's like you want to react to like what you see as stupid or trifling, like rap songs, especially like I feel like in the high school we went to, which was like very suburban and white. It just felt, it felt weird that like our our white like classmates were all like getting down with these
You couldn't listen to
ringtone
the
rap
song.
songs.
You couldn't like you couldn't really like
embarrassed for everyone, I guess.
I
But yeah, I think listening to it now, like I feel like a lot of this one's pretty solid, but there's other songs on like the top 100 end of year list. A lot of these like one-hit wonders that I actually really enjoy a lot more than I definitely did back then, and can appreciate where they're coming from. Like with this one, he's talking a little bit about like not even just like ringtone rap, but like the Bay Area hi-fi, like E40. You can hear some of those influences, and like it's more than like you can see there are choices in music and cool ideas behind the songs.
There's more to it than we realized.
Yeah.
I like it a lot more now than I remember.
Wow.
But I feel like I was like what you guys are saying, and pretty like it's an easy song to be dismissive of when you're 16, having like very simplistic lyrics.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of like listening to it now is just more fun than I remembered. I agree, it's corny, the little like references when they're name dropping cities and like, oh, they name drop Chicago and they play the Kanye beat. But I don't know. I think it's a little fun. I kind of think the chorus, I like the chorus a lot more than anything else. And it's just like strip away all the like pretense and like machismo of other, like it's just like, it's almost kind of like a parody of it, just saying like, I'm not talking a lot about myself. I'm just saying I'm hot. You're not. Like, it's just like stripped down to like, this is like bare bones. This is like what a like kind of pump yourself up hip hop song is. And it's, I kind of appreciate that.
Some Mims is self-aware.
I think this has to be a self-aware song.
I think you're probably right.
Like when you say like, you ain't cause you're not, like that's like got to be a little tongue in cheek at least. Like you're not explaining why the other person isn't hot. You're just saying you're not.
I can't believe how complimentary we are right now. I like it's blowing my like 16-year-old brain.
I mean, I don't love the song. I'm like over the song 2 minutes in, but I enjoy those first 2 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, but I think like maybe is this the moment maybe to think about some of these other one-hit wonder rap songs in the year? Like, for example, like Party Like a Rock Star. I love it. Listening to it now, it's like especially as we've had like 15 years of like rap musicians dipping into rock in like sometimes good and sometimes funny ways. Like with Lil Wayne went into Rebirth, like Young Thug and Juice WRLD most recently, MGK, and like this was maybe, I mean obviously going all the way back to Run DMC of course, but like this was in some ways a moment where that happened. So the Party Like the Rock Star was cool. So I mean I don't know if we're gonna talk about Soulja Boy again, but that wasn't a song that again had a lot. We will talk about Soulja Boy.
Yeah, he has a number one.
He's on the list. Okay, well we can save that.
Yeah, because I think he's kind of the peak of this discussion we're having. May 24th, May 31st. So as Will is turning, as you're turning 16, Sweet 16, the number one song was "Glamorous" by Fergie featuring Ludacris.
If you ain't got no money, take your broke ass home. You say if you ain't got no money, take your broke ass home.
GLAMOUS, yeah. GLAMOUS. We flying first class up in the sky, popping champagne, living my life.
Is this song also having a TikTok comeback? No, this song is sampled by I Know This. Do you know about the current circumstances of the song?
Only guess I would have is maybe Doja Cat.
No, the song is currently a very significant sample for I looked it up yesterday, number one, not currently, but was for a few weeks, number one song by Jack Harlow. That basically samples this, and he kind of like plays off the chorus, the G, he builds it off. So it's a pretty good song actually, but I knew there was some sort of a lot of 2007 songs like having these rebirths. Maybe it's like a 15-year cycle or something, but yeah. I feel like with every Fergie song, I don't really know how to like process my like feelings. I think it's a very dumb song. I think her verses are like, and actually Fergie's another person, another artist where it's like, I think she's self-aware of like some of like, you know, these verses being very silly, like dumb, silly verses, like, you know, historically speaking, like, I mean, London Bridge, you know, was like, you know, I think self-aware, dumb. And I still think about her like national anthem, you know, like was she self-aware that that was so ridiculous? But I think there's some self-awareness here, like, you know, this kind of like, you know, I guess she is talking about like, you know, that she's, you know, she still remembers when she was not rich and now she is rich, stuff. I think I like the chorus a lot. I think the verses are super stupid, but the chorus is kind of a cool, like laid back feel to it. You know, the production's fun. Ludacris's verse is ridiculous. I don't know how I feel about the song. Like a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it has kind of like strings going on, like electronic strings, I think, in the background. And that I felt was kind of a nice change of pace from like pure kind of electronic beats that we've had for most of the year. But yeah, I don't know. I feel the same way. I mean, it's another song. This feels like a through line for me in the number ones, where it's another song where I like remember actively not liking it at the time, and when I listen now, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'm probably not going to listen to it much again, but like everything just seems kind of more enjoyable now, even though as a whole I don't love the year 2007 in music. I like the Luda features more than I expected because I didn't really remember them, but yeah.
This almost feels like influential to like Lana Del Rey. Do you get that at all?
Mm-hmm.
I can hear that.
I can hear that.
Kind of chill vibes in the beat that.
that Lana Del Rey like almost takes it another step of like
Yeah.
like
That's
the
so
like
funny.
drama of it, like the
Yeah,
the top
totally.
drama.
Yeah, I don't like the song. It feels very dour to me, like a sad, like a bored rich person. Like that's what it feels like. Not a glamorous and like a, I guess, and that's part of the song is like thinking about to when she was.
But she's talking about how she loves, you know, she loved going to Taco Bell.
Yeah. So
Right.
in that sense, I think it's cool. So actually, maybe I'm reconsidering, but no, I mean, I think
It's
it just,
quickly added to your top five.
sonically, it just feels kind of like lackluster and dour.
I think it was definitely like, I think this was what, like the third single. And like this, you know, she had so many hits from this album.
Yeah.
You know, London Bridge was the first, like, and that was, you know, just like this dumb party song. And I think like Fergalicious, right?
Yep.
Like this is kind of like the like, you know, bring it down a little bit, like,
Mhm.
and then she goes like really acoustic later.
Yeah, it seems like she kind of took inspiration from like Gwen Stefani's solo album and like the way that it
Yeah.
kind of came out with singles that were all pretty stylistically different.
Well, speaking of Gwen Stefani, because I'm looking at the critical reception, some people compared it to, this is like a minor hit. Do you remember the song Luxurious, Gwen Stefani? It sampled Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
It was a very similar, like, you know, her talking about like, you know, being rich now, but also remembering like not being rich,
Mm.
with like kind of a hip hop influence. Liz Black of Cinema Blend called Glamorous, quote, a stunning account of her ability to keep it real despite life in the first class. So, you know,
Yeah.
so some people like that.
Stunning artistry.
Stunning. April 7th, April 14th, 2 weeks at number one, we have Akon with Don't Matter.
Yes, we gon' fight. Oh, yes, we gon' fight. Believe we gon' fight. Fight for our right to love, yeah. Nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter, no. 'Cause nobody wanna see us together. Nobody thought we'd last forever. I feel I'm hoping and praying things between us don't get better. Men steady coming after you. Women steady coming after me.
Will, the floor is yours. I know you have thoughts.
I don't think my thoughts are actually strong. This is the first song on the list that I have zero recollection of.
I thought, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was
And
the
it
opposite.
surprises me because I was enjoying all the Akon singles up to this point. And what I have written down in my notes is that it's like if this was all like 3 years earlier, I think Akon would have been an artist like I got obsessive about and just like listen to everything and like was a huge fan. Because I don't know, I just enjoy his voice, I think. And I like this song isn't my favorite, but I thought it was fine.
He's like Shaggy.
Yeah, like
I
late elementary school, I was obsessed with Shaggy. I could hear myself
Yeah.
because it's just somebody I kind of like all the singles of, but don't really know anything else about. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any good specifics about the song. I feel like this whole year of number ones is just like, oh yeah, that's fine. But
Yeah.
I know Jonathan had stronger negative feelings, so I'll let him go.
Yeah. Go ahead, David.
I just want to point out, if I remember correctly, Will, that you did have an Akon song at number one year.
Did I?
Lonely?
You said,
Definitely had a top
I think you said
five.
lonely.
I love Lonely, and I was obsessed with it when it was out. I don't remember my number one, but I believe it.
I think you put that at number one for whatever year
Wow.
that was. Yeah.
Wow. I remember liking it at the time too.
This song?
No, Lonely.
Yeah.
Which was it 3 years earlier?
Yeah, it was like a few
About-
years. Yeah, about. Yeah, I think the song's super boring. I think I realize some of his solo stuff is I like. I agree with you. His voice is, it stands out. It's, like there's something, there's a reason why he was so big for a while. I really like when he's featured on other artist songs. Typically more so, like, like especially, when he's featured on like rap songs and sings the chorus. It's kind of fun. It's a nice like detour. But yeah, I think this sounds like a boring, like, love song that does really.
Yeah. And I find like I'm like it's kind of for me, there's something about these like kind of mid 2000s pop songs. Another one that's on the list that I kind of connect this to is Bubbly by Colby Calais or whatever.
Mhm.
It's kind of like almost like lullaby, like simple melody, like Daniel Powter, James Blunt, like that type of stuff.
I think Beautiful Girls kind of like that too.
Yeah, Beautiful Girls, like all, yeah. And it's just, yeah, it's interesting to think about all of these.
Like, do we
songs.
have those big songs anymore? Like,
They're big songs, but they're like also just like so
Simple.
like childish or like, like
innocent.
innocent. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like find a pretty melody and just repeat it a lot throughout the
Yeah.
song.
Hey There, Delilah. I think you can maybe even,
Yeah.
Well, that's a very innocent song too.
yeah.
They were innocent times, those Bush years.
And like even like Waiting on the World to Change is kind of like that too, which like gestures a bit at like political dysfunction and war, but also just says like, let's just wait it out, y'all. Like it's like let's not
Right.
cause
Well,
it.
Let's not actually do any concrete
Yeah.
stuff.
I think. Well, I feel like that's very much like that song specifically is very much like a relic. A relic
Bush
like
administration.
60s. No, like it goes back to like 60s. It's like
Mm.
yeah.
Drop out kind of thing.
But like, I mean, well, why am I?
Because you have like the new left who are like, let's get involved in, radical politics, where it's like the hippies are more kind of let's drop out and chill.
But it makes sense for this time period too, because it's end of Bush is like there are a lot of young people who have been like not into politics whatsoever, like, oh wait, we actually need to fucking do something to get this like change.
something in
type
the
of person
air.
in
The
office.
vibes feel wrong, but like you don't actually have there's no detail to the, like John Mayer about, besides the fact that people are at war. I feel like, in that like our leaders are corrupt maybe. Like
Well, and then it's kind of what Obama built his campaign on. It was like
yeah, it was just
like a
vibes.
vague idea of change
Yeah,
without
yeah.
Well,
people knowing
Well,
exactly what steps they need.
I mean, you're literally describing every
That's true. It is.
whole political
That's
moment
been going on for a
ever.
lot longer than this.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're also
right.
describing Trump like in a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's definitely with wait, how did we get it from Don't Matter by Akon to like
This guy had a laid
yeah, I
back
think I can-
melody.
That's
yeah.
the era, but like, yeah, I mean, what I was thinking of from the '60s is where that that song is like, come on, people now, smile on your brother. It's like that like
yeah,
that general like there's nothing. You're not saying anything. You're just saying like let's like be together. Like let's
Yeah, if everyone's just nicer and more
Stand
content, then
like and that's what like you're not gonna hear like a 2007 song be like like ripping like John Ashcroft or something specific. Although maybe there were, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. Different times, but yeah, maybe I think that makes sense with the era too. April 21st to April 28th, we have a lot of these songs are 2 weeks in a row and then they go off. But Timbaland, he put out a solo album featuring his two big stars at the time, Justin Timberlake and Nelly Furtado. It's called "Give It to Me."
Mommy, see mommy. Amnesty International got Bangkok to Montauk on lock. Love my ass and my abs in the video. All promiscuous, my style is ridiculous. Ridiculous. If you see us in the club, then we like to be nice. If you see us on the floor, you'll be watching all night. We ain't here to hurt nobody. So give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Wanna see you work your body. So give it to me, give it to me, give it to me.
On the beat.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, Timbaland riding high with his Timberlake songs, with his Nelly Furtado songs. He brings them both together. I faint memory of this song. I have a little bit of a memory, but definitely Timbaland beat.
Almost sounds like a Pharrell beat too,
Yeah.
with
Little.
like kind of the piano a bit in the back, or maybe it's a flute. I don't know.
Yeah. The song features the protagonists addressing their critics and about their successes in the music industry. I remember like Justin Timberlake, he hits back at people who accuse Sexy Back, who said, "What? He didn't bring Sexy back," and they said, "Well, I did," or something like that. Which I believe, actually, now that I remember, the person who said that was Prince. He was like, where did Sexy go? And he's like, I brought Sexy back, and something like that. Again, innocent times. Yeah, it's kind of a weird song. I don't know. I'm surprised it was a #1 song. I think it was probably just because of his peak like production, star period for Timbaland. But it's fine. It doesn't do that much for me. I don't know that much to offer.
I'm trying to feel like what the difference is between this and the Nelly Furtado stuff. It feels like they could have just like picked this to be one of her singles too.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I think the beat is less interesting than like Say It Right though.
I agree. I mean, I don't like this much to say it right.
Yeah.
Or the Timberlake songs.
Yeah, I like the chorus, or I think the chorus where like Nelly Furtado like meet me in the club, and then like everything else I find totally forgettable.
It sounds like, at least to me, it sounded like Justin Timberlake's verse. He like probably just came in for like 30 minutes and like put it down and then left. Like it seems like very like, not a whole lot was put into it. Timbaland made the beat. He was like, "This sounds good." Then he got his two popular artists.
Little quid pro
I think
quo.
Nelly Furtado deserves some more credit for the song, but yeah, I agree.
I think this is the other, like this and the song right before. I think those are the two songs I have no memory of from the year.
Okay, so just late.
Yeah, I guess that's
You were
maybe it was like before the Orioles were bad or something. I was watching a lot of baseball. I mean, like before they were like out of the running.
right. You're like, I can't
Not
listen to
listening
this
music right now.
Akon song. I'm watching Brian Roberts. And what? Who? Well, the two. Who else would have been on?
Markakis is there.
Vegas.
I think. I don't know if Adam Jones is there yet or not. It was right around then.
Well, actually, no. That's probably right at the beginning. Yeah. So right at the beginning of when they're starting to like maybe get a little bit better.
I think Rodrigo Lopez might still be kicking around in the rotation.
Oh wow, Rodrigo Lopez. May 5th, Johnson's birthday, 2007. 1 week at number 1 is "Girlfriend" by Avril Lavigne.
She's like, so whatever, you can do so much better. I think we should get together now. And that's what everyone's talking about. Hey, you, I don't like your girlfriend. No way, think you need a new one. Hey, you, I could be your girlfriend. Hey, you, I know that you like me. No way, no, it's not a secret.
The song rules. I love this song so much. At the time, I don't think I liked the song that much. I thought it was annoying. I think this is my favorite Avril Lavigne song. I think this is better than anything she did before, like any of her earlier songs. Is it like is it her authentic self? No, probably not. Like I think they definitely tried to go out of their way to make her like pop punky or like
Yeah.
dyeing her hair blonde and being this kind of like changing her image. She recorded the song in multiple languages, by the way. It's worth listening to. Maybe at the end I'll preview other versions, but they're really funny. But no, I really like the song now. I think it's just like it's such a simple, fun, like Brad, like whatever you want to call this type of song. People like critics, I think they're comparing it to the song Mickey. Hey Mickey, you're like it's very much like influenced by that, but I don't know, like it's just such a fun song. It's got huge hooks. Like I don't see anything not to like. I really enjoy the song now, having some distance from when it came out.
Yeah.
Big.
I liked it at the time. I remember that actually. I feel like the narrative that was that like it was her selling out. But
Yeah.
I didn't really care about that at all at the time. And yeah, it feels like you can draw a direct line between that and MGK stuff now. This type of like mall punk hot topic stuff, and also like some other bands that are out now. Like I don't know if you guys have heard of Beach Bunny, who's a Chicago band.
You've talked about.
Who are pretty good, and sounds a lot like this too. And to some extent, like like Soccer Mommy, that type of stuff too. I feel like is indebted a bit to this kind of stuff.
Do you think this was like her label, like trying to be like, oh, look who's big, like All American Rejects, or like Green? Like, do you think this is like her
Sum 41? I think this is when she this is when she got married to the guy from Sum 41 too. So that must have been an influence.
Maybe. But like do you see that? Like, do you separate this from like from Complicated and like, because I know Will. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Complicated seems more like in the vein of like
yeah,
like 90s like Shania Twain, not Shania Twain. What's the other one?
like
Who am I thinking of?
Sheryl Crow.
Yeah, like Sheryl Crow, like that type of singer, a little bit more singer songwriter, and this is more bratty malt punk.
I guess like Skater Boys.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Skater Boy was the song I was very into when it came out.
Okay.
And I think I appreciated like the whole narrative she had going on with Skater Boy and the lyrics. So I feel like this song, I think in my head, this song was kind of older and in the same like year as those. But so I was a little surprised it came after.
This was actually 2 albums after that.
Yeah.
She had another album before this that I think was
So
more
this
like
is-
in the vein of like piano ballads and stuff.
Yeah, so I think I was kind of, I don't know, like not feeling her by now. And then I was like, when the lyrics are so simplistic, I probably at the time didn't like it and was, wanted something more like Skater Boy. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this is another example of a song where it's like, listening back now, I'm more appreciative of, and like, it's another song where it's like being, I feel like self-aware, and it's just kind of simplicity, and like, at the time it's probably something I was like pushing back against, because especially like when I was like very into like U6 and stuff, I was like very into like what I thought was like very clever like wordplay and lyrics, and so like anything that was like seemed like such simplistic and it's in the lyrics, I feel like I was at the time probably rebelling against and not appreciating enough.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And David, you know what else? This is I can hear a thorough line too. An album that we both treasure a lot is Sucker by Charlie XCX. This could definitely have been on that,
Mhm.
like London Bridge or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a song that Susan got me very into well after obviously it was around.
Which is what? This song?
This song, Girlfriend.
Mm.
This song for a while, did you know, was the like most played song on YouTube for like years.
Wow, that
Yeah.
surprises me.
Yeah.
Is it like a good video or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's fun. It's like her playing different parts, but I think it's also just because like it came like this was like the
Yeah, right time.
YouTube broke out, like so it just kind of right time. I'll just play.
Well, and it's like, especially when you look at like the other number ones from the year. I mean, if you're a hip hop fan, that's a very split ticket in terms of what you might be watching on YouTube. If you're a fan of pop punk, you have very limited option in terms of like big number one songs that everyone's watching.
I think that's a reason too. Like I think this song, like there's this run of like chill, like clubby songs, like even like like Give It To Me is like not super like upbeat. I guess it kind of is, but like it's kind of this run of like and then this comes and it's like this like big pops, like, so maybe that's why too. I'm just gonna play 2 seconds of the Mandarin version.
She's like, so
Never mind,
That's not Mandarin.
it's not Mandarin.
whatever. You can
Or is it?
talk about
Why does it say Mandarin? It's just
Maybe just the chorus.
Wait, play the chorus.
why don't you want a new rondo? No way, no way. Make sure y'all eat a shingo.
okay. So it's only partially Mandarin. Who is that appealing to? You still need to know English to
I
understand.
mean, the chorus is the only thing anyone remembers, and in the English version. So
Cool.
May 12th to May 19th, we have, I believe, the first number one song from Maroon 5. And it's called Makes Me Wonder. I kind of wanted to keep it going because there's one part of the song I like a lot, which is like when it leads.
Still don't need a reason. The
Right, but
pre-chorus?
there's that piano. Yeah,
Yeah.
that I like a lot.
Yeah, this was my. I liked the song at the time.
You loved the song at the
I
time.
did love this song. I still like it. It's probably my favorite Maroon 5 song. I don't know. I think maybe at the time, like there wasn't a lot of like these kind of like disco pop songs. I feel like that felt new to me.
Right.
And so on. I mean, like when I listen to it now, it's interesting to hear it with like, I don't know, fresh ears. I notice different things. And I also know the production kind of sounds like a demo a bit. I feel like the mixing isn't great. And it's like, there's obviously the lyrics and narrative is nothing to write home about, but I still think it's a fun vibe, especially that pre-chorus that you were saying, David, and also the bridge too. I like where it kind of goes boom, boom, and it like goes, there's the bass drops down a bit. Anyway,
It's definitely, I feel like, speaking of bridges, like I feel like this is the like bridge from like their like first era where they were, like still, like a soft rock band basically.
Mm.
And then them just like now, basically until now, like just going for just like straight up like, pop hits.
yeah,
Like not even like attempting to be like we're like a
Nope.
big band.
no,
Like,
yeah, no funk,
right. Like we're basically just Adam Levine like featuring a backing
Right.
band.
right?
I think this is of the Maroon 5 hits, which, speaking as someone who's not really a Maroon 5 fan, shout out to frequent listener of the pod, Jack Nairn. Like this is definitely one of my favorites of their hits, you know. And I definitely have their more like upbeat songs, but I almost feel like they've in some ways tried to like be, you know, remaking this type of song like over and over and over since then.
What is your favorite song after this? I don't think I could tell you one.
Bye.
Because
Bye.
this is, I think this song was probably the end of my Maroon 5.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, this is a song I don't like, but I realize I feel like I can make it like the song like Moves Like Jagger, I feel like is almost like a weird remake of this. You know what I mean? It's trying to go for that same vibe.
Yeah.
You know, probably more successfully than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like the song when it came out. I still like the song. It's worth pointing out, according to Wikipedia, what one potential meaning of the song is alleged to be Levine's frustration at the state of politics and the U.S. role in the war in Iraq. From the original lyrics, they incorporated the line, quote, "Give me something to believe in because I don't believe in you anymore," which becomes a refrain to the chorus. Levine revealed that the lyrics may be maybe not targeted at the Bush administration, but maybe dancing around that territory a little bit. So that super vague line about not believing in you anymore might be about not believing in the Bush administration anymore.
Oh, what a bold.
So brave.
Wow, really sticking it to them.
Yeah.
So now you know that.
I feel like there's so many songs this year. Maybe you guys will disagree with this, but I feel like there's so many songs this year by artists who you hear all the time today, like even their old stuff. But the songs from this year are ones that don't get played much.
I know what you mean. I think I like
there are still Akon songs you hear today, but you never hear
like
Don't
Akon.
Matter. There's still a lot of Maroon. I feel like I don't hear this song ever, but I hear other Maroon 5 songs from like the late
Timberlake.
2000s.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
other Timberlake songs you hear. Yeah, just like most of the artists.
Even like when we get to Stronger by Kanye, I feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. So the Makes Me Wonder also comes back for a week at June 2nd, so it's on for 3 weeks. But in between that, 1 week at number 1 is May 26th, and the song is called, I think, the first T-Pain solo song, "Buy You a Drink, Shouty Snappin'."
And she be standing in.
Oh, wait, that's the wrong version. That's the Kanye version. I didn't
The
even
Kanye
know it
remix.
had a verse
Yeah.
on. Here's the version.
Yeah, the Kanye one kept from.
I got money in the bank. We in the bed like, we in the bed like, talk to me. I talk back. Let's talk money. I talk that.
T-Pain is one of the worst lyricists in general. But I
Yeah.
think I think he's also very self-aware. So
Yeah.
You see, this is the one for me. This is like the only one for me at the time where I was like, I felt I had caught on to him, the artist being self-aware, and that's why I liked it at the time. I was like I'll talk back. I think that's just a funny lyric, like just like I don't know, not adding anything, but just keeping it very simple. Like, you know, it's not a complicated interaction he's having. Just trying to like pick somebody up.
and just the chorus where he goes, "We in the bed like oh," like that's funny. Like it's so stupid, but it's like it's funny. Like it's stupid.
This is the first song I can remember my sister introducing me to. So I feel like that's pretty indicative of me becoming like more out of touch with what's being played. But I don't know. I like the song. I think the chorus is just catchy and fun. Everything else I could kind of do without, but I really enjoyed the chorus of the song.
It's got a cool like CZ aspect to the chorus that I just noticed.
I like it. I think back at the time, especially that was like one of the first. He was one of the first people who so boldly used autotune. I think there was a resistance to that as like the rockist, like it's not authentic or whatever. But listening to it now, I think it's great.
Yeah. I mean, definitely I can appreciate it more now than at the time, which is probably true of most of these songs. It's fine. It doesn't do that much for me. Like I can appreciate that. Again, like now, I think at the time I was definitely part of that, reactionary group of like, this auto-tune thing is getting dumb, like it's everywhere, like, and now, and I think in general now, like the public is like, can be like, actually, like we should probably give T-Pain. I think people are giving T-Pain more credit now than they did at the time. You know what I mean? So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love the song. I don't dislike the song. I think the production's cool. I don't know that much to offer.
It's interesting that has the walk it out reference when Walk It Out is like big at the exact same time.
By Unk, I believe. Speaking of Unk, we have June 9th and July. This is the first time I really heard and referred to a song as the song of the summer. It's worth mentioning. And I think definitely fits that bill. We have Umbrella by Rihanna featuring Jay-Z.
You can't see shiny cars, and that's when you need me there. With you, I'll always share. Because when the sunshine, we shine together. Told you I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be your friend. Took an oath, I'ma stick it out to the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella.
Before the chorus hits. Huge song, obviously. I feel like definitely.
I think it's Rihanna's biggest song.
I feel like it probably still is. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But
Would you agree? I feel like this is the song you hear the most out of every number one from the year today.
probably.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right. You know what I think about the song is that it's. I think it's a really, really great song. I think it's like people recognize it at the time.
It's the
Like,
Dream,
I-
right?
What's that?
The Dream wrote it.
He helped write. I don't know if he
Yeah.
wrote the whole thing. Produced by Tricky Stewart, who did Single Ladies. He did Touch My Body. He did a lot of these types of songs.
Drums sound great. Really big drums.
I was about to say, I mean, to me, the highlight, like the best thing about the song is the production. I love the production. It's so crisp, and like when the chorus comes in, when the sun shines, like those like big synths, just like it's really, really well made production wise. I think it's a great song. I still there's some part of me that like thinks that like it's also a song that could have like that you could have put other singers on and it'd be just as good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I like it doesn't feel to me like I think like Rihanna becomes more distinct over time.
Totally.
With her songs, like especially
This was like her second album, right?
Yeah, like third.
Yeah.
On Bad.
She was still, I
mean, she was still, like it was still. And again, like I think again, like Rihanna's an artist that too, like now people think, I think rightfully recognize her as like this, like like almost like a legend at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think rightfully so, just because she's had a lot of just great hits and make great music. I think at the time though, like she was like at the time I maybe dismissed her a little bit because I thought of her as kind of like more of like a cookie cutter artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think with the song it's a little bit like that, but just the production of the song, the structure of the song is just so well made. It's such a well done song. That I can appreciate it. And like it was seen like at the time, I'm looking right now, like Entertainment Weekly rated it the #1 song of the year. Rolling Stone and Time listed it, top 3. I think like Pitchfork loved it.
Yeah.
It was like really, really well regarded, which is interesting.
Yeah. In some ways, like thinking about it, like I feel like Rihanna, her voice was still developing, like
Mhm.
as an artist, but like even like her vocal abilities. And I almost think like she, in some ways, I think kind of detracts from the song a bit. Like I can imagine if other singers with a little bit more like kind of oomph could actually, because it hurt like, yeah, it is like this big epic grand production that's so big, and her voice is a little bit thin on top of it. And I wonder what it would sound like with.
Can you? The follow-up question is: can you think of like who's another artist at the time who?
At the time,
Yeah, like another big artist. Is there someone that you think, or just ended?
Alicia Keys, maybe.
Okay, I can hear that.
No.
I could definitely hear that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because it was originally written with Britney in mind, which I feel like would be a pretty different song.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it doesn't
can't see that
really
at all.
seem like a Britney song to me at all.
Honestly, I could hear this more as like a Christina. I think it like someone with like Christina Aguilera could have done it. Like,
They
I
tried to
think
get
you're right. I
Mary
think
J.
someone they-
Blige on board, which
What do you-
also would have been a very different song, but
with
I feel like I could hear more. Mary J. Blige, they tried to shop it to.
Yep.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that I think you're right. Like her voice wasn't as fully developed at this point.
Yeah.
But it still works, like just because it's such a good song. Yeah. July 28th to August 4th, we have the I believe only #1 song by Plain White Tees, and it's called Hey There Delilah.
Hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty, yes you do. Times Square can shine as bright as you, I swear it's true. Hey there, Delilah, don't you worry about the distance, I'm right there. If you get lonely, give this song another listen.
It's enough. I hated the song when it came. This was like, I was like, please, like.
I just felt like,
I will
I
turn
was
it
like,
off.
yeah. Like if you had to torture me, you like have to
Yeah.
and listen to this song. It has endured as one of my probably like my least favorite songs of all time.
Same. I think it's so. The lyric.
I was just, it's inexplicable to me how popular this became. I don't get it. I really don't.
I mean, I think the question is like who is taking this like on like as it, who is listening to this and be like, this person's authentic, like this is truly like I'm connecting with Tom Higginson, the songwriter, like oh, when they say like Times Square can't shine as bright as he's like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
oh my god, wow.
Fun fact about this song though that people actually don't know. This was the first song ever, one of the first big songs ever produced by Ariel Rakeshad, who went on to do
Wow, really?
Yep.
Oh my
Time
God.
And Vampire Weekend, Charlie XCX, Sky Ferreira, all that stuff. This
That's-
was one of maybe his first big song. So
Wow.
shocking.
What was that band he was in?
Foreign Born that I
Was
really
it-
liked.
Was it before the band Foreign Born?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a you. Will, do you hate the song as much as we do?
No, as I've already said on the podcast, I'm a sucker for the nasally, whiny male lead singers. So at the time, I definitely kind of liked it. And then I think I did get sick of it pretty quickly. It's just played a ton,
Yeah.
and it's like, and I don't know what it is about the song, but to this day, this song still probably gets stuck in my head more than like any other song in the world.
I'm
Like I have no
sorry.
idea why.
I'm
Wow.
sorry.
And it doesn't bother me as much as it would you. but it's just like the chorus just gets stuck in my head randomly, like every so often, and it's still around. Like you still hear the song sometimes at like Walgreens, so it's like
Do you?
yeah, I've noticed this in multiple different Walgreens like within the last couple of years. So it's like this is one of the few songs that's had like staying power from the year, I think.
You know what? This is kind of like their Good Riddance Time of Your Life, which is a Green Day song that I actually really dislike as well.
But I think that's a better song.
It's definitely a better song, but it's like a similar type of like, you know, punk goes acoustic for a moment and gets deep. Like,
Was there? I mean, was there like because they were like in the same like they were like a pop punk band, like you know they weren't like just this like acoustic. Like,
Yeah.
this was not their usual sound. Like, I guess there kind of still was like an expectation that these types of bands have to do their like acoustic song, right?
mhm.
I mean, you know, like My Chemical Romance, I guess had what like
Yeah,
Camp-
no, that was a whole industry of like pop punk going acoustic. There would be like albums of acoustic stripped down versions.
I remember those commercials.
Yeah.
I mean, I
yeah,
think it even dates back to like there were those periods in like early 90s when we were doing the podcast where like metal bands would do like a random acoustic ballad and they would always
More
it would like
than
make
words.
the top 100.
Yeah.
Or I mean like it would be a number one. It's like I think it's like just enough to overlap with multiple bases to like kind of push it up at least briefly.
Yeah, definitely still a thing. It's just so funny how it goes from Rihanna to Plain White Tees like that. So then we transition. August, the song of August 11th through September 1st. So 4 weeks, which is a long time for this year for number one songs. We have Sean Kingston with Beautiful Girls.
You're way too beautiful, girl. That's why it'll never work. You have me suicidal when you say it's over. Damn, all these beautiful girls, they only wanna do you dirt. They'll have you suicidal.
Jesus.
Don't remember
Such a point of it. Wait, was that the normal version? That sounded weird.
Yeah. No,
It
it sounded right. I cracked up when I hear him saying suicidal.
Which is
3 times in a row.
it cuts off the music completely. It's just like you had me suicide. Like, just completely
Yeah.
like it's like we get it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, you were shaking your head.
Yeah, the song is also, it's just such a weird mix of things going on between his like sing-songy delivery and like like I crack up hearing the suicidal like in that way, but then like there's like that kind of like kind of 60s girl group type of production, a little bit like schmaltzy, boom boom boom, with some strings. It's an interesting song. I don't think it's very good, but it's definitely a lot going on.
It's like based around Stand By Me by, you know,
Right,
Stand
right.
By Me. Like to like almost like it's just it's almost like a remake in a weird
Yeah.
way. I will say I think of the songs on this list, you know, if you were to ask me like what song surprised you the most that you enjoyed, I would say it's this song. I think I enjoyed the song more than I thought I would. I think it's a super ridiculous song. I think it's like so over the top, you know, this emphasis on like suicidal. I think that was like, I think everyone was like probably caught off guard because it's like, wait, like this is like this like, you know, doo-wop like innocent song, and then like being suicidal. It's like, wait, what? Like Jesus, okay, like, and you know, he was like, I mean. Sean, okay, he was like 16 or 17, so that's kind of a little weird. But like it's really catchy. I mean, you know, and again, like it's because it's based around this classic song that everyone loves, you know, Stand By Me. Like but I do kind of like the throwback to it, like the doo-woppy part, you know, sounded different from what stuff at the time, I guess, to some extent. And then like, you know, then like, Bruno Mars would take it and run with that. But
On his Wikipedia page, he has like they have the different eras of his career. from 2013 to present, it's upcoming 4th studio album.
I saw that.
So I'm still working on it for
We'll see. You never know. I also I did read his Wikipedia page before, and I do remember this when it happened. He got in a jet skiing accident in 2011 and almost died. It was really bad. And I'll just read it. It says he was immediately rushed to the hospital. He was cited by Miami police for careless operation and required to pay an $180 fine. By 2018, he had begun to ride jet skis again. That's really funny to me.
I like jet skis.
Yeah. Those are my thoughts. I like it more than I thought.
This is a song that, I unapologetically think is pretty, and I just really like the melody and the chorus, and I like the song. But it's interesting. It's another one. I said this exact same thing for the last episode for Chasing Cars, where it's a song that I'm pretty confident I had never heard or somehow missed until a few years later when I was making my year CDs freshman year of college. So I don't think I had heard this song until 2010.
Really?
And I don't know how. I feel like it would have been a song I would have remembered, but I don't know. Maybe I just forgot it. But yeah, I fully agree. It's not the most well-made, well-crafted song or anything, but I just find it very catchy and I like the chorus a lot.
September 8th, 1 week at number 1, we have Fergie again with Big Girls Don't Cry. The Return of Fergie. This is a big Fergie song. I would say I it's again a corny song. It's silly and it's authentic and it's kind of earnestness, I guess. I like the song more than the other Fergie songs. I think it's just a well-crafted song. Let's see, did she write it? That's a question I have.
She wrote it with Toby Gad.
Toby Gad, who also co-wrote All of Me by John Legend and a few
Produced
other songs.
by Will.i.am.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I think it's there's nothing to be offended by it.
Toby Gad also co-wrote and produced If I Were a Boy. I feel like you can hear a lot of overlap between these two songs.
Yeah, kind of ballady. I will say my roommate at one point in college, Jake, we would host parties and stuff, and he would throw on this song in the midst of all these party songs, and it was always just kind of funny, because I think he really earnestly liked the song a lot, but it's just funny that we're putting the song on between these party songs. Yeah, I don't know. Of the Fergie songs, again, it's the least Fergie-y to me, but it's also it's fine. I can't be mad at it.
I don't love this song, but I did kind of forget how acoustic it was until I listened again for the podcast, and I appreciate that as kind of a change of pace from a lot of other songs in a similar genre from the year.
Sure. We mentioned the song before. September 15th through September 22nd, and then comes back October 6th through November 3rd. So 7 weeks at number 1. The song of the fall is Crank That Soulja Boy by Soulja Boy.
Superman that yeah, why me crack that RoboCop? Super friend, now why me jocking on them, hate them, man. When I do that Soulja Boy, I lean to the left and crank that thing now. You I'm jocking on you. And if we get the fight, then I'm counting. You catch me at your local party, yes, I crank it every day. Haters get mad, cause I got me some bathing Nate. Soldier boy, I finna, why me crank it, why me roll? Why me crank that soldier boy, that Superman, that
The lead into the chorus, does he say haters get mad because I have me some baby making? That's what I always thought it said, but I don't think he says that.
No idea.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Anyway, a song that I despised at the time, because it was everywhere. It was super stupid. I can appreciate it more. I think it's fun. Like, it is fun, and it certainly was like, to me, it was like the culmination of just like everything that was happening in rap, of like this like ringtone stuff. Like even at the time, I was like, oh, this is like, you know, what was like the inevitable conclusion, like this huge song that follows these things. A song that I think now is seen as like weirdly influential, because like it kind of like a lot of like mumble rap stuff, right? And like, you know, basically newer genres of rap that I have no knowledge of, that maybe Jonathan knows better than I do, but you know, I think more influential. So and again, I think it's fun. It was everywhere at the time, and I, you know, again, despise it just because it was like just omnipresent. But you know, it's fun. Everyone danced.
Yeah, super influential. I remember despising it at the time. I remember vivid memories of seeing our classmates like doing the dances and feeling very embarrassed. But listening back now, no, I mean, I think it's influential in that he was like, you know, he was very good at branding and
Right.
Like one of the
marketing.
earliest viral videos.
Also,
I remember.
yeah,
Well, it was a TikTok dance. Like this is a
yeah, he self-produced it. Yeah, I think I like it.
This song kind of bucks a trend for me, because I think it's the one song I like less than I remember liking at the time. And I didn't love it at the time, but maybe it's not even how much I liked it at the time, but I like it less than I expected to like it. Because I was thinking, oh, that chorus is so catchy, it's fun, makes you want to kind of get up. And then I listen, it's like, yeah, the chorus is catchy, but everything else just does nothing for me. I don't know. I don't have much to add, but I kind of expected it to enjoy it more than I did.
So in the middle of all that, in the middle of the Crank That Soulja Boy streak, we have 1 week at #1, September 29th. Kanye West with Stronger.
Awesome, the Christian and Christian Dior. Damn, they don't make them like this anymore. I ask, cause I'm not sure. Do anybody make real shit anymore? Bow in the presence of greatness. Cause right now that has forsaken us. You should be honored by my lateness, that I would even show up to this fake shit. So go ahead, go nuts, go ape shit. Especially in my pastel on my babe shit. Act like you can't tell who made this new gospel, homie. Take 6 and take this, haters.
We don't get to the chorus. I'm surprised it was only #1 for 1 week. That's fun.
Well, I think Good Life ended up becoming a bigger hit in some ways, right?
Maybe. Here's what I'll say. When this song came out, I was really, really into it. I remember like, you know, just the anticipation for this album was so big, you know, the whole like him versus 50 Cent, but
True.
Obviously a much, you know, more well regarded at this point, I think.
Yeah.
You know, he was just like, it was such a big build up for this album that when the song came out, I was like, I downloaded it, I listened to it over and over and over again. I remember my first internship I ever had, like I was like listening to it all over and over and over again. It's not that I dislike the song. I think it's fine. I think it's just kind of like, maybe in retrospect, a little like boring for him. I don't know. Like I think it's his most like straightforward like pop song of like, I'm going for like the hit song, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
you know, the obviously the Daft Punk sample is like a big deal. But I also feel like it's not that it's far from his most impressive sample. Like it's
Yeah.
just kinda, like slowing down the sample a little bit. But you know, it's fine. It's far from my favorite of his songs. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it a lot at the time, and like especially contrasting it with like Soulja Boy and these other rap songs. It's like, oh, this is what rap could be, right? Of like
Yeah, you're
something
right.
that's like pulling in other influences and stuff. I remember, putting it on mix CDs and playing it in my mom's car. And it's still fine, but I feel like it feels kind of autopilot right now. The production's kind of boring. It feels like, in some ways, it kind of reminds me a bit of Power from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which I think same type of like straightforward rap song, but I think Power was better.
Yeah, because I still really like Power, but I agree.
Yeah.
It's like it does that, but better. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this song a lot. I was like kind of going back and forth on how much I like it, just because I do feel like the Daft Punk sample really makes the song, and he's not actually kind of working with it that creatively. But I don't know. I still really enjoyed the song. I feel like I don't know. It just it's kind of in a year that has a lot of kind of interesting minor beats in the production. This is kind of much more just kind of in your face with everything they're doing, and I kind of enjoy that as standing out.
I mean, it definitely stands out. Like the other, what were the other rap songs at this point are Soulja Boy. I mean, basically what Soulja Boy and Mims. Like those
I was comparing it more to just
like.
kind of
I mean, there's other songs that have rap, but like those are the other two raps. Like, and then this, it's completely different. November 10th through November 24th, 3 weeks. Number one, we have Chris Brown featuring T-Pain. Kiss, kiss.
I'm a country boy from Tappahannock. VA is where I reside, so shawty understand it. And I know I just turned 18 and I get a little mannish. And you see this bandana hanging, that means I'm like a bandit, like a bandit. I got paper, girl, the Lamborghini with the spider seats. You never seen it.
So this is still. So Chris Brown, okay, like I had to remember this because this was pre, his incident with Rihanna, which to me at least completely like reshaped like how I viewed him. Like afterwards, I was just like, I can't listen to this guy. I think he's, he's also just like a douche, like in general.
Yeah.
He's not I think bad for multiple reasons, but this was before all that. Like, he was like this rising star. I already looked at the 2008 number ones and he's everywhere. Like, he's becoming huge at this point. All that said aside, I like the song. I think it's really fun. I think it's silly. Like, it knows it's silly. The chorus, T-Pain's Vaden's verse is horrendous, but it's, whatever. I don't know. I just think it's like a fun pop song. That's not much else to say. I like it.
I had no opinions.
Yeah, I kind of found it a little forgettable.
Do you remember the song?
This is
Yeah,
one I
but
actually don't remember.
Vaguely.
Interesting. Okay. Because I do feel like people don't remember. Like, it doesn't seem like it has the like.
Yeah.
That I don't know what other songs by him do from this era, but anyway, so this is me defending Chris Brown, and you guys are like, no.
Me and him share a birthday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh. Was he born? He's probably born around the same. Is he older?
I think he's a couple years older than us.
1980.
He's 33 right now, so that's
Right.
years older.
Years older. Wrapping up 2007, we have December 1st to December 29th, 5 weeks. We have No One by Alicia Keys.
But all I know is everything's gonna be alright. And no one can get in the way of what I'm feeling. No one can get in the way of what I feel for you.
Interesting.
What's interesting?
I don't remember that like kind of
Synth.
that synth at all.
Hmm.
I just always thought of this as a straight piano ballad. That's
So Alicia Keys to me is like I think in terms of like the like pop stars that have had multiple hits and like last longer, I think she's closer to the top for me, like especially her like first few albums like Falling and I think those are some of the like the best.
yeah, totally. If I ain't got you,
Right, that
Yeah.
one. Both I think If I Ain't Got You, I put as my number one for that year.
Yeah.
I knew that you would appreciate that, and then I think I put Fallen at number one too, for that
Yeah.
year.
You
This
Remember
song I
My
remember,
Name? Great song.
yeah. I remember like this song when it came out, like I to me, and it still kind of sounds like it's like she's kind of attempting to like be a bigger, like make a bigger song, you know?
Like a Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, like, and I think it's fine. I think it's far from her best song. I like, I like about it. I like the bridge, where she's like, some people search the world, like, that part's cool. But I kind of, I think I had to say, like, at the time, I think I felt similarly, like, it was fine. She was trying to go a little bit bigger. A few years later, she, did Empire State of Mind, which I think is like a much better attempt at that.
Right.
But I don't know. It's hard to be like offended or like dislike an Alicia Keys song, I found. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this is a really beautiful song. But I think mainly for me, it's just the chorus I find. I mean, like she's showing off a bit and it works for me because her voice is so good. And then the rest of the song I found a little less memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Fallen, I think, is very similar to me in that like she really kind of lets herself go off in the chorus, but then I find the verses in that to be more interesting.
Yeah, I mean the chorus is big in this song. Is the highlight. All right, that's 2007. So I think Will, you kind of wrapped it up nicely when you said like it's a lot of songs that you don't hear as much nowadays.
Yeah,
It's
Alicia
like
Keys being another example. You hear other songs more than
yeah, I mean it's kind of like a weird transition year in some ways, I feel like. But also kind of a weird mix of like there's a lot of like synthy pop songs, right?
I mean the Timbaland influence.
A lot of Timbaland,
Yeah.
Umbrella kind of similarly, and then like sprinkles of like weird acoustic.
And like a sing, also like I kind of the sing-songy pop type of vibe, which shows up on my top 5 list as well. In a different
Yeah,
format.
earnest love songs throughout.
Should we get to our top 5?
Let's do it.
All right.
Top 5.
Yeah, I know. We need like a theme to this.
We do. Need some interstitial music.
I'm gonna find like a song that has like top 5 in it. That's
Yeah.
likable. I'm sure I can find something.
It's time for the top 5.
It's time.
That's from Ezra King's show though.
I can start. So just a few quick little shout outs. Number 7 I put as Umbrella by Rihanna, for the reason I talked about. Number 6, I put a song I liked at the time and still like now is Who Knew by Pink. Kind of a throwback to like an early 2000s pop rock song. Number 5, I put Carrie Underwood with Before He Cheats.
Oh,
I'm gonna play a
You
little.
listen to these songs at all?
Yeah.
we do. Okay. Go ahead.
I took a
It's just a very memorable, those lyrics. I remember listening to a song and my dad reacted when the line about I took a Louisville slug to both headlights. Like he loves that. Like it's
It's on my short list.
It's a very memorable line. It's like it's just that classic like revenge country ballad.
Yeah.
That it's just kind of classic. Number 4, I have Rehab by Amy Winehouse. Which I will play when. Come on. Well, I'll talk about it as I'm finding it. No, not by Rihanna. There's a Rehab by Rihanna. Here we go.
But I can't learn from Mr. Hathaway. I didn't get a lot in class, but I know it don't come in a shot glass. They try.
I mean, when Amy Winehouse kind of broke out this year, I loved her. So like, I still really do. I still think that this album is like one of the best of like the last 20 years or whatever. It's such a great throwback, and the production, the Mark Ronson production, so classic. I will say I think Rehab, on this album is maybe one of the weaker songs, honestly. With that said, it's just like it's such a memorable talk about like a song to like break out for someone, like just they try to make me go to rehab, I said no, like it's just like it's such a forceful like coming out song in that way, and I has a more of a context now, but
yeah,
I don't know, I feel like people don't really know about Amy Winehouse now. Like I wonder if like younger generations know the music, because I just think it's such like a classic, it should be just played.
Yeah, I am. It is surprising you don't hear her more these days. I feel like it's like she has such a timeless sound. I feel like I would have kind of expected like Back in Black to be heard like all the time.
Well, and
I guess the issue
like,
is that she only had one. This was her last album.
Yeah.
So there's the songs in this album are so played so much at the time that people
Back to Black.
And the thing is that like who would influence was Adele, who was coming out around the time, and then she breaks out after she died, after Amy Winehouse dies.
Don't forget about Duffy.
And Duffy too. Not quite the same career, but
didn't have as much of a career, but yeah.
Oh no, the whole like British.
Yeah.
A lot of great like female British singers, like these Corinne Bailey Rae at the time. I mean,
yeah.
There were a lot, I love the like kind of throwback.
Yeah.
Time. No, I can't believe I put this at number 3 ahead of Rehab, especially. I put Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne, for reasons I've talked about. Number 2 is Love Stoned / I Think That She Knows by Justin Timberlake.
Hey, those flashing lights come from everywhere. The way they hit, I have to stop and stare. She's got me love stoned, man, I swear she's bad and she knows. I think that she knows. She's freaky, she knows it.
So I just think like this is a very long song. It goes into an interlude that's a really pretty interlude, like with this like piano and but I think like everything that he wanted to try and do with like making these long songs, like this is where he does the best. Like it's like it's like a really it's like it's a disco song. Like this is a song that it's definitely a throwback to that, but I think it's just like it's such a well crafted song. Like the production is like current, but it's also like a throwback. I really like this song. Number 1, I have a song.
Wait, what was your 3? I missed it.
Number 3 is Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne.
Okay.
Number 2 is Justin Timberlake. Number 1. it's the best. And you know, again, I think you know, when it came out, Jonathan being super into the band, like there
What
was
is your
definitely a little
relationship to
bit.
this song? What is
What
yeah?
was
What is
that?
your relationship to this song? What is your relationship to this song?
Well, I'm about to say this.
Oh, sure.
Like, you know, there was definitely a little bit of just me being like, I can't like this song as much. Like, you know, like
Yeah, that's fair.
like a little bit of a resistance. You know, we saw them live. I you know, had a great time.
Yeah.
You know, it was a lot of fun. I think, you know, with time, I can be like, this is a great song. It's a great, you know, it's just like it's an epic rock song. It's what it sets out to do. It's interesting. I was surprised when I saw it was on the chart, like even within the, because it was a big song, but I didn't think it was like this big. It's just like, yeah, it's just like epic that somehow, like I always think like somehow they ended with that like drum beat, like the like, you know, marching drum, and I'm like how did they just like end it, like, you know, how did they make that work? But it works. It just does. So that's my number one.
Sweet.
All right, let me go next because I have a lot of overlap.
Okay.
First, just because I was so shocked how many came close to my top 5, but like shocked by what songs came close, I'll throw out a few honorable mentions. Like I considered Apologize. I never thought would have been in the running. Throw Some D's was a lot more fun than I remembered it being, and I came close. Similar to Walk It Out.
That was like my number 9 or so.
Walk It Out and Throw Some D's are both featured a lot in the same Girl Talk album I got really into college. And I didn't realize, like, because it's pulling from, you know how he's pulling from so many different things. I didn't realize how many different parts of some of his songs came from just those 2 songs. Like a lot of, like, there are a lot of parts that feel kind of disparate, and I didn't realize came from the same song until I listened for this, because I didn't really know them very well at the time. Okay. Stronger also is close. But my top 5, my number 5, David mentioned but didn't put it on his, is Who Knew?
Okay,
Pink, which I think is a very good song. Another one that Susan got me into more than I listened to at the time when it came out.
I know better, 'cause you said forever and ever. Who knew? Remember when we were such fools and so convinced and just too cool.
My number 4 was Welcome to the Black Parade. As we've already discussed, stemming mostly from Jonathan's love for it. He taught me the piano part at the beginning. We play in the practice rooms at lunchtime. Number 3, I guess I have it with My Chemical Romance, but what I feel is kind of more the emo I was listening to a lot at the time was How to Save a Life was a song I was enjoying a lot at the time. And so like,
is that emo? I guess it kind of.
I feel like it's emo enough. I don't know. Maybe emo's the wrong word. I think of the phrase being pretty emo.
All right, let's hear it.
Let 'em know that you know best.
Yeah, maybe instead of emo, I should say more of the like whiny alt rock I was liking at the time. My number 2 is Rehab.
Well,
Great
hold on.
Yes.
Did you watch Grey's Anatomy?
Right.
I didn't. Oh, I lied. My family did watch the first couple seasons because I had Chasing Cars last episode and I have this song this episode. Maybe I was noticing the music more than I remember from the brief time I watched Grey's Anatomy.
Okay. Anyway, 2 you said is Rehab.
2 is Rehab, and number 1. I don't know if it's actually my number 1 if I thought about it longer, but I feel like all 5 of these were very close for me, so I just put the most interesting one at number 1. Most interesting because I don't think I had heard it at all until preparing for this. Totally came out of nowhere for me, and that is The Way I Live by Baby Boy the Prince. I just heard this, I was like, this is so fun. I don't remember this whatsoever. I really liked his voice is very different than other rappers at the time.
I'm in shock right now.
Never would have thought this would make it.
I'm in complete shock.
West Bank rapping, I'm one of the baddest. French Riviera spy, and I'm getting in shape, man. I think I'm super
Like the
NBA
string
without a
beat,
cake,
that's
man.
fun.
Grinding all day hustling, all for the cake, man. I'm a Benjamin Stack, 1 inch taller than Great Dance. 50 made cheap Ray band like a felon. I'm growing up now, spitting hotter than Mount Helens, and I'm still living good, never gonna flop. I'm a young little dude, stay running from cops, and my rubber is the place.
Is that the version?
Yeah, but you got to get to the chorus because it's fun.
I
That's
know.
why I got my props. Plus, I ain't gonna stop till I drop. Chill. Little boy still pushing big wheels. I stack my money, lay low and chill. Don't need to work hard, that's the way I feel. I feel like this is the way I live.
Yeah, it's like it's southern.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever heard that before.
So I have MCR as my number one. You have Baby Boy to Prince as your number one.
The only album he ever released.
Wow. Is that right?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh no. Well, yes, I think yes. That's the only album. There we go.
I do remember that song. I do remember like that guitar. Like it was. You're right. I mean, it's
Acoustic,
different.
repetitive.
It is like it's very different. Like, but at the time, I think it like blended in for me just because I was not.
I feel like it blends in with like 2006, but 2007 doesn't have nearly as much of the kind of southern laid back flow as we heard last year.
Well, 2008, we will be hearing plenty of Lil Wayne. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I was thinking Lil Wayne's. I feel like the person who is very noticeably absent on this list, and I feel like this is probably the year he was doing a lot of mixtapes that weren't getting a lot of radio play. But like this is in some ways just like his peak artistry, but wasn't reflected on the charts. But he's coming back next year for sure. For me, number 5, Rehab. Number 4, Throw Some D's. Maybe play a little bit of it.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, because we now we all have Throw Some D's at least on our honorable mentions too.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Just bought a Cadillac. Throw some D's on that bitch. Just bought a Cadillac. Rich boy selling great book. Niggas want a jet. Shit tight, no slick. Just bought a Cadillac. Throw some D's on that bitch. Just bought a Cadillac. Throw some D's on that bitch. Just bought a Cadillac. Rich boy selling crack book. Niggas want a jet. Shit tight, no slick. Just bought a Cadillac. Took it to the top south.
Three white guys nodding their heads. So
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's like, it's a common subject matter, but like real interesting production and like syncopated beats. I'm like almost like this trance type of like something going on there. It's like very, very cool production, very luxurious.
I love his voice too. Like he kind of disappeared. Like I don't know. I love the tone. That kind of drawl on his voice.
Totally. Number 3 for me is Lips of an Angel by Hinder.
Oh, wow.
I loved this song back then. I still think it's a pretty fabulous power ballad.
Okay, let's do it.
Play a bit of it.
I guess we never really moved on. It's really good to hear your voice saying my name. It sounds so sweet. Coming from the lips of an angel. Hearing those words, it makes me weak. Let's never want to say goodbye.
I've always wondered, are they distorting his voice in the chorus at all?
I don't know.
So like deep. It's like
Yeah.
"Grr."
Yeah, it's like, some people would call this like butt rock or something, like it's.
Is that an
like,
expression?
Yeah, like.
Well, it's buzz ballads.
It's definitely a buzz ballad.
It's more. This would fit in like 2001. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was shocked that the song was from this year because I did think it was a lot older.
Yeah. I just think it's a great melody. Really lovely hook. I love the chorus is really soaring. Kind of reminds me of Oasis. I don't know.
I can see that.
Number 2 for me is Here in Your Arms by Hello Goodbye.
I like that song.
Another song I cannot stand.
Can touch. Yeah.
When you are the one who only lies close to me with eyes above, I miss you quite terribly. I fell in love with you suddenly. That I so much I could be within your arms.
I'm not being a little unfair. It's fine.
Yeah, it like also using some autotune. It feels very digital, but like very playful and like kind of innocent in a way that feels really like nice. I also think it's like, I don't know, the production, it's like very, I feel like dynamic. Like there's a nice drop and they pull out. Yeah, I like it a lot.
And number one.
Yeah, number one, No Surprises, Welcome to the Black Parade. Yeah, probably my favorite song of all time. I remember where I was when I first heard it. MCR, they played a VMA pre-show on the roof of some New York or Los Angeles building. I forgot what it was, but they had this whole, yeah, it was like, for me, like, you know, Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, the album before, was like, you know, so important. And then the anticipation to this was enormous. And yeah, and just, I remember just, yeah, like hearing, you know, you expect this punk, like this kind of like punk rock song, and then they start with this piano ballad and just like in these ridiculous costumes. And then, yeah, I mean, I feel like of all the songs on this chart, I feel like it really sticks out. It's like, it feels very different than everything else that's on here. And yeah,
it definitely, I feel like from my point of view, like it kind of came out of nowhere, it being this big epic, but also kind of didn't. Like it made sense in some other ways, right?
Yeah.
I didn't remember it having the multiple movements. I kind of just remember the main theme more than anything. I also was hearing more, I don't know, I felt like I was hearing some American Idiot influences that I didn't kind of catch back in the day. Like it's like a bit of a shift from the album before.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest precursor to it, besides like the immediate precursor. There's like, obviously, you know, but I think, you know, I think we talked about how MCR was grouped in with a lot of like the pop punk stuff. MCR, I feel like they were always pulling from a lot wider array of influences, from Queen and Smashing Pumpkins 70s stuff to, you know, to metal even sometimes. Like they were just, I think Gerard Way just had like a really like kind of eclectic taste that you could really see in the music.
Definitely. And the reason you wanted to do this podcast, I think, at least this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And just a surprise that it was as
yeah.
high as it was. Well, that is 2007. So we will be back in the year 2008 soon. And I think there's only one song to lead out with, and that is the Vitamin String Quartet's cover of Welcome to the Black Parade. So forget it, I'll just do the regular.
Carry on, we'll carry on, and